The light is changing now. It is that quiet, heavy time of late afternoon when the heat of the day begins to lift, but the air still holds the warmth of the sun. In a small stone room in a quiet corner of the Roman Empire, the dust motes are dancing in a single shaft of light. They drift slowly, floating up and down, caught in the stillness of the air. There is no wind here. There is no sound of the busy market which is far away. There is only the room, the stone, and the records. You are safe here. There is nothing you need to do. There is no history to learn, no dates to remember, and no names to recall. The events of the world are happening far away, outside these thick walls. Here, everything is still. Everything is steady. You can let your mind drift, just like the dust in the light. If you fall asleep, the numbers will still be here. If you drift away, the silence will remain. In the center of the room sits a heavy wooden table. It is made of old oak, smoothed by years of use. On the table there is a stack of wooden tablets. These are the tabulae. They are simple, rectangular frames of wood filled with dark, smooth beeswax. They smell faintly of honey and cedar. Beside them lies a bronze stylus, a simple tool with a sharp point for writing and a flat end for erasing. A man sits at the table. He is a scribe. He is not a general. He is not an emperor. He is a man whose job is to count. He has been sitting here since the morning, and he will sit here until the lamp runs low. His breathing is slow and rhythmic. He reaches out a hand, his skin dry like parchment, and picks up the stylus. It makes a faint, scratching sound against the wood of the table before he lifts it. He is looking at a long scroll of papyrus that lies open before him. The papyrus is old and slightly yellowed, curling at the edges. It contains a list. A very long, very simple list of taxes collected from a nearby farming district. The scribe's job is to transfer these numbers onto the wax tablets for long-term storage. It is a task that requires no imagination. It requires only patience. He looks at the first line. It is a record of wheat, the grain that feeds the empire. But here it is not food, it is just a number. 100 modii of wheat, he whispers softly to himself. The sound of his voice is barely a murmur, absorbed instantly by the stone walls. He lowers the stylus to the dark, waiting wax. He presses down. The point cuts into the soft surface. He carves a vertical line. Then another, then another. I. 3 sacks. He pauses. He looks back at the scroll. He breathes out a long, slow exhale. He looks at the wax again. He smooths a tiny ridge of displaced wax with the side of his thumb. The wax is cool to the touch. It feels smooth and slightly oily. He writes again, a V shape 5, then an X 10. The scratching sound is the only thing in the world right now. Scritch, scritch. It is a rhythmic, repetitive sound, like a dry leaf skittering across a stone floor. It is a sound that means everything is in order. The numbers are correct. The columns are straight. 20 modii from the farm of Lucius, he murmurs. He does not know Lucius. He will never meet him. Lucius is just a name on a list, and the wheat is just a number to be tallied. The scribe shifts slightly on his wooden stool. The wood creaks, a low, groaning sound that echoes briefly in the quiet room. He adjusts his tunic, pulling the linen fabric straight. The fabric rustles softly, like dry grass in a gentle breeze. He settles back down. Outside, the sun is dipping lower. The shaft of light on the floor is moving inch by inch. It creeps across the rough flagstones, highlighting the texture of the rock. Each stone is different. Some are gray, some are slightly brown. Some have tiny pits and scratches from years of sandals walking over them. If you were to look closely at the floor, you could count the stones. 1 stone, 2 stones, 3 stones. They are solid and unmoving. They have been here for 100 years, and they will be here for 100 more. The scribe dips his stylus again. He is counting jars of olive oil now. Amphorae, tall clay jars filled with thick golden oil. Item number 4, he reads, 12 amphorae of oil. He writes the numeral XII. He stops to verify the number. He looks at the scroll. He looks at the wax. They match. He feels a tiny, microscopic sense of satisfaction, not excitement, just the feeling of a stone fitting into a wall. It fits. It is done. He moves to the next line. Item number 5, 12 amphorae of oil. It is the same. Another farm, the same tax. He writes the numerals again. XII, the repetition is comforting. There are no surprises here. The numbers follow one another in a predictable line, marching down the wax tablet like quiet soldiers. Let your shoulders drop. There is no rush to finish the list. The list is endless. The empire is vast, and there are always more jars of oil to count. There are always more sacks of grain. The scribe is not in a hurry. He has all evening. He has all night. He reaches for a small cup of water on the table. The cup is made of simple red clay. He lifts it slowly, his hand steady. He takes a small sip. The water is cool. He sets the cup down. Tap. A soft, dull sound of clay meeting wood. He picks up a tool to flatten the wax on a previous tablet. He needs to correct a small smudge. He uses the flat end of the stylus. He rubs it back and forth over the wax, back and forth, back and forth. The wax warms slightly under the friction, becoming soft and pliable. The error disappears. The surface becomes smooth and dark again, ready for a new number. The motion is hypnotic, rubbing the wax, smoothing the surface, making it blank. It is like wiping away a thought, wiping away a worry, leaving only a blank, calm space. The light in the room is turning golden now, shifting towards orange. The shadows in the corners of the room are growing deeper, stretching out like soft blankets. The air is cooling down. The stone walls hold the cool temperature of the earth. It feels pleasant, safe. The scribe looks at a stack of older tablets piled on a shelf nearby. There are dozens of them, hundreds of lines of numbers. Thousands of bushels of wheat counted years ago. The wheat has been eaten. The oil has been burned in lamps. The people who grew it may be gone, but the numbers remain here, safe in the wax. He returns to his current task. Item number 6, he whispers, 15 modi of barley. He writes the X, he writes the V. XV. The stylus drags through the wax. He blows gently on the tablet to clear away a tiny curl of wax shaving. The breath is soft, barely a sound. Whoosh. The shaving flutters down to the floor to join the dust. He leans back and stretches his neck. He rolls his head to the left, then to the right. A faint pop, he sighs. It is a sigh of contentment. The work is boring, yes, but it is peaceful. No one is shouting. No one is demanding anything. There is only the list. He looks at the texture of the papyrus scroll again. He can see the fibers of the plant woven together in a grid, vertical strips and horizontal strips pressed together and dried. He traces a line of fiber with his eyes. It goes up over under, up over under. A simple pattern repeated thousands of times to make a single sheet of paper. Item number 7, he reads, 6 amphorae of wine, low quality. He writes the V, he writes the I. VI. He pauses to think about the wine. It is likely sour. It is the kind of wine soldiers drink, mixed with water and vinegar. It is not for a banquet, it is just a ration, a supply, a number. The scribe rests his elbows on the table. He rests his chin in his hands. He stares at the flickering flame of the small oil lamp he has just lit. The sun is not down yet, but the corners are dark enough to need it. The flame is small, shaped like a teardrop. It is yellow at the top, blue at the base. It dances slightly, even though there is no wind. He watches the flame. It grows tall, then shrinks, then grows tall again. It consumes the oil slowly, just as he consumes the list. Slowly, steadily. You can close your eyes now if you wish. You can imagine the smell of the beeswax, the smell of the old stone room, the faint, dusty smell of the papyrus. There is a window high up on the wall. It has no glass, just an iron grate. Through the bars, the sky is a deepening blue. A bird flies past, silent and quick. Then it is gone. The sky is empty again. The scribe picks up the stylus once more. He cannot stop. The list is not finished. Item number 8, he murmurs. 30 modi of oats. XXX. 3 crosses in the wax. 3 tens make 30. It is simple math, the simplest in the world. He hears a sound from the hallway outside. Footsteps, sandals on stone, slap, slap, slap. They are slow footsteps. Someone is walking past the door carrying something heavy. The scribe does not look up. He does not care who it is. The footsteps get louder as they pass the door, then softer as they move away down the long corridor. Slap, slap, lighter and lighter, until they are gone. Silence returns. The silence feels heavier now. It wraps around the room like a thick wool cloak. The scribe checks the tip of his stylus. It is still sharp. He runs his thumb lightly over the bronze point. It is cool and hard. He looks at the next entry. It is a long one, a combined shipment from a large estate. 50 modi of wheat, 20 amphorae of oil, 10 bales of wool. This will take time to write. He must be careful. He must be neat. He starts with the wheat, an L, the Roman numeral for 50. It is a simple shape, a right angle. He carves it deep into the wax. L. He moves his hand down a fraction of an inch. The oil, 2 X's. XX. He moves his hand again. The wool, 1 X. X. He looks at his work. The lines are straight. The depth of the cuts is uniform. It is a good block of text. He feels calm looking at it. Order from chaos. The harvest of a whole valley reduced to 3 lines on a piece of wood. The light outside is fading faster now. The orange has turned to a bruised purple. The shadows on the floor have merged into one large shadow that covers everything except the circle of light from the oil lamp. The lamp is the center of the world now, a small pool of warm, yellow light in a large, dark room. The scribe's hands are illuminated by it. You can see the ink stains on his fingers from previous days. You can see the wrinkles on his knuckles. He dips the stylus again. Item number 10, he whispers. He does not read the item yet. He just rests for a moment. He listens to the silence. He listens to his own breathing. In, out, in, out. There is nothing else to do. There is nowhere else to be. The night is coming slowly, gently. The city is settling down to sleep, and the counting continues. There are thousands of citizens in this province. Each one pays a tax. Each tax must be written down. It is a job that will never be finished. And because it will never be finished, there is no need to rush. The scribe blinks slowly. His eyes are heavy, but his hand is steady. Item number 10, he repeats softly. 4 sacks of lentils. I. 4 vertical lines, standing together like a fence. He brushes the wax surface again. He is preparing to turn the tablet over. The front side is full. It is filled with numbers, a grid of commerce. He lifts the wooden frame. It is heavier than it looks. He flips it over gently. The back side is smooth, dark, and empty, a fresh field of wax, waiting for the stylus. He places it down on the wood. Thump, a soft, dull sound. He aligns it with the edge of the table. He pushes it 1 inch to the left, then 1 inch to the right. He wants it to be perfectly straight. He looks at the empty black wax. It is like a dark mirror. It reflects the tiny flame of the lamp, a perfect, tiny point of light in the darkness of the tablet. He prepares to write again. Item number 11. The night has barely begun. The sun has fully set now. The blue square of the window has turned into a deep, velvety black. There are no stars visible through the iron grate, only the dark emptiness of the night sky. The room feels smaller now, drawn in by the shadows. The world outside has receded, leaving only the circle of light cast by the oil lamp on the oak table. The scribe places the bronze stylus down on the table. It rolls slightly, then stops. He does not pick it up again immediately. It is time for a small break. Not a break to rest, but a break to organize. The list on the table is growing long and the reference scrolls are piling up. In an orderly empire, a messy table is a small failure. And this scribe does not fail. He merely organizes. He pushes the wooden stool back. The legs of the stool scrape against the stone floor. Scribe. It is a slow, low sound vibrating through the quiet air. He stands up. His knees crack softly, a tiny percussion in the silence. He stands there for a moment, letting the blood flow back into his legs. He smooths the front of his tunic with both hands. Down, down. The linen is rough under his palms. He turns away from the table and faces the wall behind him. This wall is covered in wooden shelves built in a honeycomb pattern. These are the nests. Each hexagonal hole is designed to hold a cluster of scrolls. Some of the nests are full, the round ends of the papyrus rolls looking like stacked logs. Some are empty, waiting for history to fill them. The scribe walks to the shelf. His sandals make almost no sound now. He knows exactly where to step to avoid the uneven stones. He reaches out and touches the wood of the shelf. It is dry and dusty. He runs a finger along the edge of a shelf. He looks at his finger. A faint gray smudge of dust. "Dust," he whispers, "the dust of the province." He turns back to the table and picks up a scroll that he has finished with. It is a tax record from the previous year, used for comparison. He does not need it anymore tonight. He holds the scroll in both hands. It is light, but it feels substantial. It is history held in the hands. He begins to roll it up. This is a delicate process. If you roll it too loose, it will not fit in the nest. If you roll it too tight, you might crack the dry fibers. He turns his wrists. Twist, twist. The papyrus curls in on itself. The dry sound of the paper rubbing against itself is like the sound of dry leaves shifting in late autumn. Crinkle, rustle, soft slide. He watches the edge of the papyrus disappear into the roll. He continues to turn the cylinder. He aligns the edges perfectly. The top edge must be flush with the bottom edge. He adjusts his grip. He rolls again. It takes time. There is no machine to do this. There is only the hand and the eye. When the scroll is fully rolled, it is a perfect tube. He holds it up to the lamp light. He checks for any fraying edges. It looks acceptable. Hanging from the end of the scroll is a small tag. It is a strip of leather tied with a thin cord. This is the titulus. It tells him what is inside the scroll without him having to open it. He lifts the tag and reads the faded ink. District of the Southern Hills. Harvest of the Consulate of Marcus. He reads it twice. He ensures he knows exactly where this belongs. He walks back to the honeycomb shelf. He scans the rows. Row 1, the northern districts. Row 2, the river lands. Row 3, the southern hills. He finds the correct nest. It is halfway up the wall. He has to reach up slightly. He slides the scroll into the wooden cubby. It slides in smoothly. SHHHHK, wood against papyrus. It comes to a rest next to its brothers. The leather tag hangs down, swaying slightly, then stops. The scribe lowers his arm. He looks at the shelf. It is orderly. It is correct. He feels a sense of calm wash over him. The scroll is home. It will sleep there for 10 years, maybe 20, maybe forever. It does not matter. It is where it belongs. He turns back to the table. The lamp is flickering again. The wick is getting too long. It is carbonizing at the tip. If he does not trim it, the light will become smoky and dim. He walks back to the table and sits down. The stool creaks again. He reaches for a small pair of bronze tweezers lying near the ink pot. They are small, precise tools. He leans forward, bringing his face closer to the flame. He can feel the heat on his nose and cheeks. It is a gentle warmth. He carefully brings the tweezers to the flame. He pinches the very tip of the black, burnt wick. Snip. He pulls away a tiny piece of charred linen. He drops it into a small ceramic dish used for waste. The flame instantly brightens. It stands up straighter, the yellow light becoming cleaner, sharper. The shadows in the room retreat a few inches. Better, he thinks. He replaces the tweezers. He checks the level of oil in the lamp. It is still half full. There is enough oil for hours yet. The olive oil is thick and green gold. It fuels the light that lets him work. It is a slow fuel. It does not burn quickly like a torch. It burns with patience. The scribe picks up the stylus again. He pulls the wax tablet closer. The wax is still dark and inviting. He looks at the long scroll of new taxes on his left. He finds his place. He uses his finger to mark the line. His fingernail makes a tiny indentation in the margin of the papyrus. Item number 11, he reads softly. Lentils were finished, now chickpeas. He looks at the quantity. 20 sacks of chickpeas, farm of Alias. He brings the stylus to the wax. XX. 2 tens, 20. He pauses. He thinks about chickpeas. Sicer. They are hard, round, and beige. They rattle when you pour them into a jar. They take a long time to cook. You have to soak them in water overnight. They sit in the bowl, swelling slowly, absorbing the water in the silence of the kitchen, just as the scribe sits in the silence of the archive. He writes the name Alias next to the number. He usually does not write names, only numbers, but this is a specific exemption note. He carves the letters carefully. AELIUS. The capital letters are blocky and sharp. Roman letters are made of straight lines. There are few curves. They are letters carved in stone, even when written in wax. They are strong letters. He looks at the S. He curves the top and bottom. It is satisfactory. He moves to the next line. Item number 12. Dried figs, 6 baskets. He writes the numeral, VI. 6. He imagines the figs, dried, wrinkled, sweet, and sticky. They are packed tightly into baskets woven from reeds. The baskets are stacked on a cart. The cart bumps along the road. But here they are just V and I. The sweetness is gone. Only the accounting remains. The room is so quiet that he can hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Thump, 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 thump. It is a slow rhythm. It matches the scratching of the stylus. Outside, far in the distance, a dog barks. Once, twice. Then silence. The scribe does not look up. The dog is in another world. The world of the living, the awake. The scribe is in the world of the records. He notices a small imperfection in the wax on the lower right corner of the tablet. A tiny bubble of air trapped when the wax was poured. He cannot leave it. It bothers his eye. He flips the stylus to the flat end. He presses down on the bubble. He rubs it in a small circle, round and round. The wax warms up. The bubble collapses. The surface becomes smooth. He runs his thumb over the spot. It is seamless, perfect. He takes a deep breath. The air in the room is getting cooler. The heat of the day has finally leached out of the stones. He pulls his cloak tighter around his shoulders. It is a wool cloak, rough and scratchy, but warm. The friction of the wool against his neck is a familiar sensation. He looks at the scroll again. Item number 13. Raw flax, 40 bundles. Flax, the plant that makes linen, the plant that made the tunic he is wearing. It starts as a plant with a blue flower. Then it is harvested. Then it is dried. Then it is beaten. Then it is spun. Then it is woven. It is a long process, a boring process, a process of transformation. 40 bundles. He writes the numeral. XXXX. 4 tens. He lines them up perfectly. The tops of the X's touch an imaginary line. The bottoms touch an imaginary line. They look like a fence. a fence of flax. He rests his hand. His fingers are slightly stiff. He opens and closes his hand slowly. He stretches his fingers out wide, then curls them into a loose fist. He repeats this 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He looks at the grain of the wood on the table. The oak has dark veins running through it. They swirl and flow like a slow river. He traces a vein with his eyes. It starts at the ink pot, curves around the lamp, and disappears under the wax tablet. It is a map of the tree's life, a tree that grew 100 years ago. Everything is recorded, he thinks. Even the life of a tree is recorded in its wood. He picks up the cup of water again. He swirls the water gently in the cup. The liquid moves in a circle. He watches the small vortex. He takes a sip. It keeps his throat moist for the whispering. Item number 14, he whispers. He looks at the list. It is a strange item. 3 cages of chickens. He pauses. Chickens. They are noisy birds. They cluck and scratch. But on the list they are silent. He writes the number. I. 3 lines. He adds a small note. Livestock. He writes slowly. Live. He stops. He looks at the lamp flame again. It is perfectly still, not a flicker. It is as if time has frozen. The only thing moving is the oil level, dropping imperceptibly. He wonders about the chickens. Where are they now? Are they asleep? Are they in a market? It does not matter. They have been counted. The tax has been assessed. The empire has acknowledged them. He checks the scroll to see how much is left. He unrolls it a bit further. The papyrus crinkles. There is still a yard of paper left, a yard of numbers, a yard of work. He feels no stress. There is no deadline. The archive will be here tomorrow and the day after. He will work until he is tired and then he will stop. It is a simple life. He looks at the shadow of his hand on the table. It is long and distorted. When he moves his finger, the shadow finger moves across the table like a spider. He taps his finger. The shadow taps. He lifts his finger. The shadow lifts. He returns to the list. Item number 15, beeswax 10 blocks. He smiles faintly, a very faint smile. He is writing on beeswax, recording a tax of beeswax. It is a circle. The material he uses is the material he counts. He touches the wax of his tablet. It came from a bee, in a field, on a flower. 10 blocks, he whispers. Lex. A single cross, simple, elegant. He leans back in his chair again. He closes his eyes for a moment. He listens to the silence of the room. It is a deep geological silence. The silence of stone. The silence of stored memories. He hears the faint settling of the building. A tiny creak from the roof beams. Creak. The building is cooling down. It is relaxing for the night, just as he is relaxing. He opens his eyes. The light is still warm. The numbers are still waiting. He picks up the stylus. Item number 16. The night stretches out before him, long and empty and peaceful. The night has deepened. The darkness outside the archive has gained weight, pressing gently against the stone walls. Inside, the air is still and cool, settled into a comfortable silence that feels ancient. The only movement is the slight, rhythmic flicker of the oil lamp, which casts long, soft shadows that stretch across the floor like sleepy cats. The scribe has finished a stack of wax tablets. They sit in a neat pile to his right, their wooden frames aligned perfectly, a small tower of completed work. Now the task changes. It is a subtle shift, a change of texture and tool. He must transfer the daily summaries from the temporary wax to the permanent papyrus. This requires ink. This requires the reed. He pushes the wax tablets aside, creating a clear space on the oak table. The wood of the table is warm where the lamp has been shining on it. He places his hand on the warm wood for a moment, grounding himself. He feels the grain, the tiny imperfections, the history of the tree. He reaches for his inkwell. It is a small, heavy pot made of dark clay. It sits in a dedicated hollow on the table so it cannot be knocked over. The scribe removes the small cork stopper. Pop! A soft, hollow sound. He peers inside. The ink is black. It is darker than the night outside. It is made from soot, gum, and water. It is thick and still. It smells faintly of smoke and earth. He picks up a small stirring stick, a thin rod of bronze. He lowers it into the pot. He begins to stir, slowly, deliberately. Clink, swish, clink, swish. The metal rod touches the clay sides of the pot. The sound is tiny but clear. He stirs to mix the sediment that has settled at the bottom. The ink must be smooth. It must flow like water but stay like stone. Round and round the stick goes. There is no hurry. If he writes with unmixed ink, the letters will be gray and weak. They must be black and strong. So he stirs. 10 times to the left, 10 times to the right. He watches the black liquid swirl. It forms a small vortex, spiraling down into the darkness of the pot. He lifts the stick. A single drop of ink hangs from the end. It swells, heavy and black, then falls back into the pot. Plip. The surface ripples, then becomes glass smooth again. He wipes the stick on a rag and sets it down. Now he picks up his pen. It is a calamus, a reed pen. It is made from a dried reed stalk, hard and hollow. It is light in his hand, much lighter than the bronze stylus. It feels fragile, like a dried bird bone. He inspects the nib. It has been used before. The tip is slightly soft. It needs to be recut. He opens a small drawer in the table. It slides out with a dry rasp. Inside lies a small knife, the scalprum. The blade is short and sharp. He picks it up. He holds the reed pen firmly in his left hand and the knife in his right. He brings the blade to the tip of the reed. He concentrates. He needs to make a clean, diagonal cut. Grish. The knife slices through the dried reed. A tiny chip of plant matter flies off and lands on the table. The sound is crisp, a sound of severance. He examines the new tip. It is sharp. It is clean. He makes a small slit up the center to hold the ink. He presses the knife tip into the reed. Click. The nib is ready. He puts the knife away. He closes the drawer. Thump. He unrolls a fresh sheet of papyrus. It is pale beige with a grid of fibers running through it. It is blank, a field of emptiness waiting for data. He places a lead weight on the top corners to keep it flat. The weights are cold and heavy. He dips the pen into the ink. He does not plunge it deep. He dips it just enough to feed the nib. He lifts it. The ink holds. He brings the pen to the paper. He hovers for a second, breathing out. A summary of the day, he whispers. The pen touches the paper. The sensation is scratchy. Unlike the smooth glide of the stylus on wax, the reed pen fights the texture of the papyrus slightly. Scritch-scratch. It is a dry, textured sound. It sounds like a beetle walking on dry leaves. Summarium. The letters are black and wet. They glisten in the lamplight. As he watches, the ink sinks into the fibers. It dries. It becomes matte. It becomes permanent. He consults the wax tablet on his right. Total weight, 150 modi. He dips the pen again. CL, 150. He writes the numbers slowly. He enjoys the flow of the ink. It travels from the pot to the pen to the paper, a continuous river of black. He pauses to wipe a speck of dust from the paper. He brushes it away with the back of his hand. Total oil, 52 amphorae. He writes LII. The ink flows smoothly. The recut nib is performing well. The lines are sharp and defined. There is no blotting. He feels a deep sense of peace. This is the heart of the empire, not the swords, not the speeches. This, the ink drying on the page, the quiet preservation of facts. He looks at the lamp. The flame has not moved. It is a faithful companion. He reaches out and moves the lamp 2 inches closer to his paper. The light intensifies on the white page. The contrast between the light paper and the black ink becomes sharper. He stretches his neck again. He hears the vertebrae click softly. He has been looking down for hours. He looks up at the ceiling. It is lost in shadow. He can see the heavy wooden beams that hold up the roof. They are massive, dark logs. They have been there since the building was constructed. They hold the weight of the roof silently, without complaint, just as he holds the weight of the numbers. He returns to the page. Next item, he murmurs, timber pine planks, rough cut. He looks at the quantity on the wax tablet. 200 planks. That is a lot of wood, a small forest. He imagines the trees standing on a hillside, the wind blowing through their needles, the sound of the axes, the smell of the sap. Now they are planks, they are numbers. He dips the pen. ACC. 200, 2 CS, 100 and 100. He writes the word for pine, pinus. PINUS. The word looks elegant. The loop of the P is round. The legs of the N are straight. He rests his hand. The wrist is tired. He rotates his wrist in a slow circle. There is a faint clicking sound. He massages the base of his thumb with his other hand. He presses deep into the muscle. It feels good. It feels necessary. The room is cooler now. He can feel the chill of the stone floor through the soles of his sandals. He curls his toes. Grip, release. Grip, release. It is a small movement unseen by anyone. He picks up the pen again. Item, iron nails, 3 crates. Nails, small, sharp iron things, used to hold the empire together. Without nails, the ships would sink. The forts would fall, but here they are just ink. Lai. 3 lines. He thinks about the blacksmith who made them, the heat of the forge, the hammering, clang, clang, clang. That was a noisy job. This is a quiet job. The scribe prefers the quiet. He hears a sound outside the window. A gentle breeze has picked up. It rustles the leaves of a cypress tree in the courtyard. S-H-H-H-H-H-H. S-H-H-H-H-H-H. The sound is like the sea, but softer. It washes over the building. It comes and goes. The scribe listens to the wind for a moment. It is the breath of the night. It is soothing. It tells him that the world is sleeping. He looks back at his paper. The ink on the word penis is fully dry now. It will not smudge. Next item, he whispers. Wool tunics, standard issue, gray. He checks the count. 80. He calculates the numerals. 50 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. LXXX. He dips the pen. He needs plenty of ink for this. Lel. Lex. 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 The pen scratches rhythmically. Scritch, scratch, scritch. It is the heartbeat of the room. He notices that the ink is getting a little low on the nib. The last X is slightly faint. He dips again. He traces over the last X. It becomes dark and solid. He is satisfied. He leans back. He looks at the block of text he has created. It is a solid rectangle of information. It is ordered. It is rational. He picks up a small shaker from the table. It looks like a salt shaker, but it is filled with fine sand. This is the drying sand. He sprinkles a tiny amount over the wet ink of the last entry. S. The sand falls like microscopic rain. It hits the paper with a whisper. It absorbs the excess moisture from the ink. It sparkles slightly in the lamplight. He waits. He watches the sand. He counts to 10 in his head. Unus, duo, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septum, octo, novum, decem. He tilts the paper gently. The sand slides off and falls into a tray. The ink remains, dry and perfect. The process is complete for this section. Write, sand, wait, clear. It is a ritual, a slow dance of hand and tool. He takes a sip of water. It is room temperature now. It tastes of the clay cup. It is simple, clean. He looks at the stack of wax tablets yet to be copied. There are still many left. 5, 6. He does not count them. He just takes the next one. He slides the next tablet in front of him. He reads the scratched wax. Limestone blocks for road repair, 5 cartloads. Stone, heavy gray stone. He dips the pen. The ink is still black. The night is still long. He writes, V. 5. He watches the shadow of the pen move across the paper. It is a sharp, elongated shadow. It mimics every move of the reed. The scribe feels a heaviness in his eyelids, a pleasant weight. He blinks slowly. The room goes dark for a second, then the light returns. He blinks again, longer this time. He is safe here. The walls are thick. The door is barred. The records are his only company. He adjusts his position on the stool. He shifts his weight to the left hip. He plants his feet firmly on the floor. Item, he murmurs, rope hemp thick coil. He checks the length. 100 feet. A C. 1 letter. 100 feet of rope, enough to tie a ship, enough to pull a block of stone. He writes the sea it is a perfect curve, like a crescent moon. He puts the pen down for a moment. He rubs his eyes with the palms of his hands. He sees flashes of color behind his eyelids, faint geometric patterns. Then he opens his eyes and sees only the warm yellow of the lamp and the beige of the paper. He is here in the archive, in the quiet. He picks up the pen. Next. The rhythm continues, unbroken, calm, eternal. The night has settled fully into the bones of the building. The air in the archive is no longer just cool, it is cold. It is a dry stillness that seems to preserve the room in amber. The scribe pulls his wool cloak tighter around his shoulders. He tucks the edges in, creating a warm cocoon for himself. He is a small island of warmth in a sea of cool stone. The ink on the papyrus summaries has dried completely. The sand has been brushed away. The rolls have been tied with their little leather thongs and set aside. That task is done. The history of the day has been made permanent. Now the scribe turns his attention to the opposite task. He must destroy history, not the important history but the trivial notes, the temporary calculations, the rough drafts of tax assessments that are no longer needed. He must clear the wax tablets so they can be used again tomorrow. It is the cycle of the archive. Fill the space, then empty it. Fill it, then empty it. He pulls a heavy wooden crate toward him from the floor. Scrape, thud. It is filled with old tablets. These are records from last month, small disputes over property lines that have been settled, counts of vegetables that have long since been eaten. They are ghosts of commerce. He reaches into the crate and pulls out the first tablet. The wood is dark with age and oil. The wax surface is a mess of scratches, numbers written over numbers, notes in the margins. It looks chaotic. The scribe does not like chaos. He prefers the blank slate. He places the tablet on the table. He looks at the chaos. Complaint regarding offense. He reads the faint scratching. Resolved. It does not matter anymore. The fence is fixed or it is fallen. The record is obsolete. He reaches for a different tool. It is a heavy bronze spatula with a broad, flat blade. It is called a radula. He does not use it cold. Cold wax is hard to smooth. He needs heat. He moves the oil lamp closer. He holds the blade of the spatula over the flame. He holds it there, counting in his head. Unus, dual, tres, quatuor. He watches the metal. It does not change color, but he knows it is absorbing the heat. The invisible energy of the fire is transferring to the bronze. He can feel the warmth radiating against his hand. Quinque sex. He takes the spatula away from the flame. He brings it to the wax tablet. He presses the hot metal down onto the scratched surface. There is a tiny, barely audible hiss as the heat meets the cold wax. The wax yields instantly. It turns from a solid, scratched gray into a glistening, dark liquid. It smells of warm honey and old wood. It is a comforting, organic smell. The scribe draws the spatula across the tablet, left to right, a slow, steady sweep. As the metal passes, the scratches disappear, the words vanish, the numbers melt away. Complaint regarding offense becomes a smooth, dark pool. The history is wiped clean. He lifts the spatula. The wax begins to cool immediately. It loses its shine. It becomes matte again. But now it is perfectly flat. It is pristine. It is ready for a new problem tomorrow. He places the spatula back over the flame. He needs to reheat it for the bottom half of the tablet. While he waits, he looks at the grain of the wooden frame. He sees a small knot in the wood, swirling like a tiny galaxy. He runs his thumb over it. It is smooth, worn down by thousands of touches over the years. The metal is hot again. He presses it to the bottom half. He erases a list of turnip prices. Slide smooth. The turnips are gone. The prices are gone. There is only the wax. He inspects the tablet. He tilts it to catch the light. He is looking for ridges. He is looking for ghosts of letters. There are none. It is a mirror of darkness. He sets the clean tablet on a new stack. Clack, a sound of finality. He reaches into the crate for the second tablet. He picks it up. He reads the old scratches. Inventory of clay bricks, damaged in transit, 12. 12 broken bricks, a small tragedy for a builder a month ago, now just clutter. He heats the spatula, unus, duo, tres. The flame dances under the metal. He applies the heat. The words clay bricks dissolve. The sharp lines of the letters soften, blur, and then merge into the background. It is hypnotic to watch. It is like watching snow melt on a warm stone. The structure collapses into formlessness. He smooths the surface, back and forth. He works the wax like a baker works dough, but with a feather-light touch. If he presses too hard, he will scrape the wood underneath. If he presses too light, the scratches will remain. He knows the pressure perfectly. It is muscle memory. The top half is clear. He reheats the tool. He stares into the flame. His eyes are relaxed. His breathing is shallow and slow. The room is so quiet he can hear the oil in the lamp bubbling very faintly near the wick. Tick, tick. He clears the bottom half. The broken bricks are erased. The tablet is whole again. He places it on the stack. Clack. The two down. He looks at the crate. There are perhaps 20 tablets left. He is not discouraged. He is pleased. It is a simple task. It requires no math. It requires no writing. Just heat and motion. Heat and motion. He picks up the third tablet. Request for extra rope. Denied. He does not wonder why it was denied. He does not care. He only cares that the surface is rough. He heats the spatula. This time, he closes his eyes for a moment while he counts. He feels the warmth on his face. He imagines the atoms of the bronze vibrating with heat. He opens his eyes. He wipes the slate clean. Slide. The denial is gone. The wax is neutral. It says neither yes nor no. It says nothing. He takes a moment to clean the spatula itself. A small bead of wax has gathered on the edge of the blade. He takes a scrap of linen cloth and wipes the hot metal. The wax comes off easily, leaving the bronze shining in the lamplight. He polishes the metal for a moment. Rub, rub, rub. It gleams gold and orange in the firelight. He takes a sip of water. He swallows. The sound of his swallow is loud in the room. Gulp. He rolls his shoulders. He feels a tightness in his neck. He tilts his head forward, letting his chin touch his chest. He holds it there. He feels the stretch in the back of his neck. It feels good. He lifts his head slowly. Fourth tablet. List of tools: 1 hammer, 1 saw, 2 chisels. The tools of a carpenter, recorded by a scribe, erased by a scribe. Heat, press, smooth. The hammer melts, the saw melts, the chisels melt. The surface is black and empty. The scribe falls into a trance-like rhythm now. He does not read the words anymore. He stops looking at the meaning. He only sees the texture. Rough texture means work. Smooth texture means done. Reach, lift, heat, wipe, stack, reach, lift, heat, wipe, stack. The stack of clean tablets is growing. The crate of messy tablets is shrinking. Entropy is being reversed. Order is being restored. He notices that the air in the room has become slightly scented with the smell of the warm wax. It is a heavy, drowsy scent. It smells like a beehive in summer, but fainter. It is a smell that makes the eyelids heavy. He blinks. His eyes feel dry. He closes them for a long moment. He counts to 5 in the darkness behind his eyes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He opens them. The room is the same. The light is the same. The work is the same. He picks up the next tablet. It is smaller than the others. A pocket-sized tablet. Reminder by Salt. A personal note, perhaps from the previous scribe, or a merchant. It is a tiny window into a life. He heats the spatula. The salt is gone. He places the small tablet on top of the stack. It sits there, a little smaller than the rest, like a child standing on a wall. He nudges it with his finger so it is perfectly centered. He looks at his hands. They are stained with a little ink, a little dust, and a little wax. They are the hands of a worker. They are steady. They are calm. He looks at the shadow of the stack of tablets. It stretches long across the table, reaching toward the darkness of the corner. The shadow has hard edges. It is a solid thing. He decides to clean, just one more for now. He reaches into the crate. He pulls out a tablet that is cracked. The wooden frame has a split in the corner. He examines it. He tests the crack with his thumb. He presses gently. The wood moves slightly. Creak. This tablet cannot be used for official business. It might break, but he will clean it anyway. It deserves to be clean. He heats the spatula. He is extra gentle this time. He does not want to stress the frame. He glides the metal over the wax. He smooths out the old numbers. He works around the crack. He pushes a little extra wax into the gap in the wood, sealing it. It is a patch, a repair. The tablet is clean. It is broken, but it is clean. He places it on a separate pile, the pile for repairs. He puts the spatula down. Clink. He sits back. He rests his hands on his knees. He breathes in deeply. He breathes out slowly. The silence rushes back into the space where the scraping sound was. It fills the room instantly. It is a heavy, comfortable silence. He looks at the stack of clean tablets. They are beautiful in their emptiness. They are waiting for the future. They are waiting for tomorrow's grain, tomorrow's oil, tomorrow's taxes. but for now they are resting. And so is the scribe. He is not sleeping, but his mind is resting. It is blank like the wax. There are no thoughts, no worries, just the stone, the night, and the lamp. He watches a moth flutter near the ceiling. It is a small, gray moth. It circles a beam, then lands. It folds its wings. It becomes part of the wood. It is still. Everything is still. The scribe checks the oil lamp again. The level has dropped another fraction of an inch. The night is marching on minute by minute, drop by drop. He reaches for the stylus just to hold it. He rolls it between his fingers. The bronze is cool. It grounds him. He is ready to continue, or he is ready to stop. It does not matter. The night is long enough for everything. He looks at the next tablet in the crate. It is waiting. Soon, he thinks, soon you will be blank too. But for now, a moment of stillness. A moment to just be, to sit in the chair, to feel the floor, to be a part of the quiet history of the room. The night has stretched on. The time is somewhere between the second and third watch. The city of Rome, far away, might still be awake with the noises of taverns and guards, but here, in this provincial archive, there is only the deep, heavy silence of the earth. The air is stagnant, holding the stillness like water in a pond. The scribe stands up from his desk. He does not rush. He pushes the heavy oak chair back. Scrrrrunch. The sound is low and vibrates through the soles of his sandals. He stands there for a moment, his hands resting on his lower back. He arches his spine backward. He looks up at the ceiling. He is stretching out the hours of sitting. He leaves the circle of light at the table. He picks up the small oil lamp in his left hand. The flame tilts as he moves, casting wild, swinging shadows against the shelves. The shadows grow tall, then shrink, then jump across the rows of scrolls. He walks to the far corner of the room. Here, the shadows are deepest. Here, the shelves reach all the way to the ceiling. These are the archives of the past decades, the dead years, the numbers that no longer matter to anyone but the moths. Leaning against the wall is a wooden ladder. It is short, sturdy, and made of heavy pine. The rungs are polished smooth by generations of scribes climbing up and down. The scribe places his hand on the side of the ladder. The wood is cool. He grips it. He lifts the ladder slightly. It is heavy. He moves it 3 feet to the left. Thump. The feet of the ladder hit the stone floor. He jiggles it to make sure it is stable. It does not wobble. He hikes up his tunic slightly with his right hand. He places his left foot on the first rung. The wood creaks, creak. It is a familiar sound, a greeting from the ladder. He steps up, then the right foot. He is now elevated. The air is slightly warmer up here, trapped against the wooden ceiling beams. He can smell the dry dust more intensely. It is the smell of old paper and dry clay. He holds the lamp up. The light illuminates a row of hexagonal shelf openings. These are the nests that have not been touched in a long time. His task now is simple preservation. He is not reading. He is not writing. He is merely checking. He is the guardian of the dust. He reaches out to the first nest on the top row. There is a cluster of 5 scrolls inside. They are covered in a fine layer of gray dust. It looks like soft velvet. He pulls the first scroll out. Slide. The parchment is darker than the fresh ones on his desk. It has turned a deep tan color. The leather tag hanging from the end is curled and stiff. He blows on the scroll. Whoosh. A small cloud of dust rises into the air. It swirls in the light of the lamp, glittering like tiny stars, before drifting slowly down to the floor. He brings the scroll closer to his face. He inspects the ends. He is looking for rot. He is looking for the tiny holes made by bookworms or silverfish. The end is clean. The paper is brittle but intact. He reads the tag. Tax assessments, District of the Valley, year of the Consulate of Servianus. That was 40 years ago. The people listed in this scroll are likely grandparents now or gone. The grain they grew was eaten 40 years ago, but the record is here. He takes a small cloth from his belt. He wipes the length of the scroll. Down, up, the dust comes away. The parchment shines slightly. He places it back in the nest. He pushes it in until it hits the back wall of the shelf. Thump. He pulls out the second scroll. Slide. This one is heavier. It is a longer roll. It feels dense. He checks the edges. He sees a small fray on the papyrus, a loose thread of fiber. He touches it with his finger. It breaks off. It floats away. He wipes the dust. He turns the scroll in his hand, inspecting the spiral of the rolled paper. It is tight. It is secure. He puts it back. Thump. He pulls out the third scroll. This one has a loose tag. The leather cord has come untied. The tag is dangling by a thread. The scribe sighs, a soft, patient sigh. He sets the lamp down on a small shelf ledge so he can use both hands. He holds the scroll against his chest to steady it. He takes the two ends of the tiny leather cord. They are dry and stiff. He has to work them gently. He crosses the left over the right. He loops it under. He pulls. He crosses the right over the left. He loops it under. He pulls. A knot. He tugs on the tag to test it. It holds. A secure, he whispers. He picks up the lamp. He slides the scroll back home. Thump. He moves to the next nest. He repeats the motion. Reach, pull, inspect, wipe, replace. Reach, pull, inspect, wipe, replace. It is a rhythm that could go on forever. It is a cycle of care. These objects cannot care for themselves. They need the hand of the scribe. He pauses for a moment on the ladder. He looks down at the room below. From this height, the desk looks small. The chair looks empty. The shadows in the corners look like pools of dark water. He feels very alone, but not lonely. He is surrounded by thousands of voices, all silent, all rolled up in paper. He notices a small spider web in the corner of the shelf unit. It is a dusty, gray web. The spider is long gone. He reaches out with his cloth. He swipes the web away. It collapses instantly, sticking to the cloth. He picks it off and drops it. It falls silently to the floor. A clean. He climbs down one step. Creak. He moves the ladder a few inches to the right. Scrape. He climbs back up. New section. He pulls out a scroll that feels different. It is not papyrus. It is vellum, animal skin. It is smoother, cooler, and heavier than the plant paper. It was an expensive document. He runs his thumb over the vellum. It feels like a polished stone. He checks the tag. Imperial Decree on Salt Mining Regulations. A copy of a law. He inspects the surface for mold. Vellum can grow mold if it is damp, but the air here is dry. The skin is clean. It is pale and creamy in the light. He wipes it carefully. He treats it with respect, not because of the law written on it, but because of the material. He slides it back. The sound is different. Shhh clack, a smoother slide. He adjusts his stance on the ladder. His calves are tired. He shifts his weight to his heels. He leans his knee against the shelf for support. He takes a small bottle from a pouch at his belt. It is a tiny vial of cedar oil. He pulls the cork. The smell is strong and sharp. It cuts through the dusty air. It smells of forests and mountains. It is a clean smell. He dabs a drop of oil onto his cloth. He rubs the cloth along the wooden edge of the shelf. Rub, rub, rub. The wood darkens slightly as it absorbs the oil. The scent of cedar rises up. This will keep the insects away. Bugs hate cedar. The scribe loves it. He oils the shelf edge of the entire row. It takes time. He has to reach far to the left, then far to the right. Rub, rub. The motion is soothing. The smell is refreshing. It clears his head. He corks the bottle. He looks at his hands. They are dusty. He rubs them together. Swish, swish. The dust falls away. He decides to check one more nest before descending. He reaches for a scroll that is tucked deep in the back. It is a small, thin roll. It looks forgotten. He pulls it out. It is very old. The papyrus is brittle. He handles it with extreme gentleness. He holds it as if it were a wounded bird. He does not unroll it. If he unrolled it, it might crack. He just checks the outside. The tag is missing. He does not know what this scroll contains. It is a mystery. Is it a tax list, a letter, a poem, a recipe? He turns it over. There is no writing on the outside. He considers opening it. He hesitates. No. If the tag is gone, it is likely not important. Or perhaps it is so important it needs no tag. He decides to leave it be. It has survived this long in silence. He will not disturb it. He places it back in the dark hole. He pushes it gently. Go back to sleep. He slides it all the way back. It disappears into the shadow. The scribe takes a deep breath. The air smells of cedar and old time. He steps down. 1 rung creak. 2 rungs creak. 3 rungs creak. He hits the floor, tap. He feels the solidity of the stone under his feet. He is back on the ground. He picks up the ladder. He carries it back to its resting place against the wall. Thump. He stands there for a moment, looking at the wall of shelves. It looks exactly the same as it did before. To anyone else, nothing has changed. But he knows. He knows the dust is gone. He knows the spider web is gone. He knows the shelves smell of cedar. He knows the knots are tied. He has maintained the order. He walks slowly back to his desk. The flame of his lamp flickers as he moves through the air. He sets the lamp down on the table. The circle of light returns to its familiar place. The ink pot is there. The stylus is there. The water cup is there. He sits down, creak. The chair welcomes him back. He takes a sip of water. It is cool. It washes away the taste of dust in his throat. He looks at his hands. He picks up a small rag and wipes them clean. He cleans each finger individually. The thumb, the index finger, the middle finger, the ring finger, the little finger. He is ready for the next task, or he is ready to do nothing. The night is still deep. The silence is still heavy. He rests his elbows on the table and watches the flame. He watches the blue heart of the fire. He is just a man in a room, watching a light guarding the paper. There is nothing to worry about. The empire is asleep. The history is safe. He blinks slowly. 1, 2, 3. He is calm. The night has entered its deepest phase, the third watch. This is the hour when even the guard dogs sleep. The city outside is a void of silence. There is no wind now. The cypress tree in the courtyard has stopped rustling. The world has stopped breathing just for a moment. Inside the archive, the scribe sits motionless at the oak table. He is staring at the flame of the oil lamp. It is a small, vertical line of fire. It burns steadily, drawing the oil up through the wick, turning liquid into light. It is a slow, silent engine. On the table to his left lie the 3 papyrus summaries he wrote earlier. They are rolled tight. They are tied with linen strings, but they are not finished. A knot can be untied. A string can be cut. To make them official, to make them true Roman records, they must be sealed. The scribe reaches for a small wooden box on the corner of the desk. He slides the lid open. Chic. Inside, nestling in a bed of straw, are sticks of sealing wax. This is not the soft beeswax of the writing tablets. This is harder. It contains resin and pitch. It is the color of dried brick, a deep, dull red. He picks up a stick. It feels light and chalky in his hand. It is brittle. If he were to drop it, it would shatter. He holds it carefully. Next to the box is a small bronze spoon, the ligula. It has a long handle and a small, deep bowl. The metal is tarnished with the smoke of 1,000 seals. He prepares the first scroll. He positions it so the knot of the linen string is facing up. It sits there, vulnerable, waiting for the seal. He takes the stick of red wax. He holds it over the bronze spoon. He brings the spoon to the flame of the lamp. He does not put it in the fire, but just above it, ideally positioned in the heat. He touches the stick of wax to the hot metal of the spoon. A sizzle. It is a tiny sound, the sound of heat meeting cold. He watches the wax. This is the most interesting thing that will happen all night. The hard, chalky edge of the wax stick begins to shine. It softens. A drop forms. It hangs heavy and red, then falls into the bowl of the spoon. Drip. Another drop, drip. And another drip. The scribe watches the pool of liquid wax in the spoon. It is swirling slowly. It is no longer dull. It is glossy and bright like molten lava. He smells the scent of pine resin rising from the heat. It is a sharp, sticky smell. He pulls the stick away. He places it down. He waits for a moment. If he pours it now, it is too hot. It might burn the paper. He must wait for it to cool slightly to thicken. He counts the heartbeats. Thump, 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 thump. He watches the liquid. It moves sluggishly in the spoon. It is ready. He moves the spoon over the knot on the scroll. His hand is perfectly steady. He tilts the handle. The red liquid flows over the lip of the bronze spoon. It falls in a slow, thick stream. Pour. It lands on the knot. It covers the string. It spreads out into a perfect circle about the size of a coin. It does not run off the paper. It sits there, a thick, red button of hot wax. The scribe sets the spoon down. He raises his right hand. On his index finger is a heavy ring. It is made of iron. On the face of the ring is an engraving. It is the seal of the archive. A simple image, a bundle of wheat and a scale. He brings the ring down to the soft, hot wax. He centers it. He presses. He holds the pressure. He can feel the heat of the wax radiating up through the iron ring against his skin. It is warm. He counts to 3. Unus, dual, tres. He lifts his hand. The wax has taken the shape. The image of the wheat and the scale is perfectly captured in the red surface. The liquid has become solid again. It is no longer a blob. It is a seal. It carries the authority of the empire. He looks at it. It is cooling rapidly. The shine is fading. It is returning to the dull brick color. 1, he whispers. He moves the finished scroll to the right. He pulls the second scroll into position. He picks up the wax stick. He picks up the spoon. He returns to the flame. The process repeats. It is exactly the same. The laws of physics do not change. Heat melts wax. Gravity pulls it down. Iron shapes it. A sizzle. The wax melts. The smell of resin fills the air again, layering over the smell of the cedar oil from earlier. It is a complex scent of the forest, trapped in a stone room. Drip, drip, drip. He watches the drops. He finds it soothing to watch solids turn to liquid. It is a change of state. It flows. It adapts. He waits for the cooling. He watches the steam rise invisibly from the spoon. He pours. Pour. The red circle forms over the knot. It covers the secret of the string. He positions the ring. He presses. He feels the resistance of the wax. It pushes back slightly, then yields. He holds it. He looks at the knuckles of his hand. They are pale in the lamplight. He lifts the ring. A second perfect impression. The wheat sheaf is crisp. The scales are balanced. 2, he whispers. He moves the scroll. 3rd scroll, the final summary. He notices a small piece of black soot from the lamp has fallen into the spoon. He does not remove it. It will become part of the seal. A tiny flaw that proves it was made by hand, by a human in the night. He melts the wax. The soot speck swirls in the red liquid. It disappears, swallowed by the red. Drip, drip. He pours. The wax is getting low in the spoon. He has to tilt it steeply. The last drop clings to the metal, stretching out like a thin red thread before falling. He presses the ring. Press. The iron meets the resin. The authority is stamped. He lifts the ring. A 3. He puts the spoon down. He puts the wax stick back in the box. Chic. He slides the lid closed. He looks at the 3 scrolls. They are identical. 3 tan tubes of papyrus, 3 red seals, 3 knots hidden forever. He blows gently on the last seal to help it cool. Whoosh. He sits back. The tension of the precision task leaves his shoulders. He feels his muscles loosen. He looks at his ring. There is a tiny rim of red wax stuck to the edge of the engraving. He picks up a small wooden pick and gently cleans the ring. He scrapes the red flake away. He flicks it onto the floor. The ring is clean. It is just iron again. The scribe looks at the lamp. The flame seems to be getting a little smaller. The oil is being consumed. Time is being consumed. He decides to organize the table. He likes right angles. He lines up the spoon so it is parallel to the edge of the table. He lines up the wax box so it is parallel to the spoon. He lines up the 3 scrolls so they are parallel to each other. The geometry pleases him. It is a grid of objects. He rests his hands on the table, palms down. He feels the coolness of the wood where the lamp has not been shining. The room is silent. The ceiling is done. There is no sound of dripping, no sound of sliding, just the silence. He feels a rumble in his stomach, a quiet, deep sound. He realizes he has not eaten since midday. It is time for a small ration, not a meal, just fuel. But he does not move yet. He just sits with the hunger. It is a dull sensation. It is not urgent. It is just another fact of existence, like the grain count or the oil level. He looks at the shadow of the lamp on the wall. It flickers slightly. A draft. No, just the uneven burning of the wick. He traces the shadow with his eyes. It looks like a mountain. Then it looks like a cloud. Then it is just a shadow again. He closes his eyes. He can still see the red circle of the seal behind his eyelids. An afterimage. A red sun in the darkness. He breathes in. The air tastes of wax and smoke. He breathes out. He is here. He is grounded. He opens his eyes. The scrolls are safe. The taxes are sealed. He prepares to stand. The hunger is a quiet companion. It is not a sharp pain, just a hollow feeling in the center of the body. The scribe accepts it. He does not rush to fill it. He finishes arranging his table first. The sealing wax is put away. The scrolls are aligned. The stylus is resting. Only then does he turn his attention to the leather satchel hanging from the back of his chair. He reaches behind him. His hand finds the worn leather strap. The leather is old and soft, polished by years of handling. He pulls the bag onto his lap. It is heavy, but not with gold. It is heavy with sustenance. He unbuckles the strap. Click, slide. The brass buckle is cold. The strap slides through the metal loop with a dry, rasping sound. He lifts the flap of the bag. Inside there is a bundle wrapped in coarse, undyed linen. He lifts the bundle out. He places it on the clear space of the oak table. He sets the bag down on the floor. Thump. He begins to unfold the linen cloth. He peels back the first corner, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. The cloth falls open like a flower. Inside lies his meal. It is the same meal he has eaten for years. It is the meal of a Roman worker, a round loaf of bread, a wedge of hard cheese, a small handful of walnuts. The bread is dark. It is made of emmer wheat. It is dense and heavy. The crust is thick and hard, dusted with a little flour. It looks like a stone from a riverbed. The scribe picks up the loaf. He holds it in both hands. He feels its weight. He feels the rough texture of the crust against his palms. It is cool now, but it was baked in a communal oven this morning. He prepares to break it. He does not use a knife for the bread. He uses his hands. He grips the loaf firmly. He applies pressure with his thumbs. Crrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrrr crust gives way. The loaf breaks into two uneven halves. A few crumbs fall onto the linen cloth. They land silently. He tears off a smaller piece from the soft interior of the loaf. It is spongy and dense. He puts it in his mouth. He chews. Chew, chew, chew. The bread is chewy. It takes effort to eat. It is not light, airy bread. It is fuel. It tastes of the earth and the grain. It tastes of the stone mill that ground the flour. He swallows. He feels the food moving down his throat. He reaches for the cheese. It is a wedge of pecorino, sheep's milk cheese. It is pale yellow, almost white, with a hard, natural rind. It smells sharp and salty. He picks up his small eating knife. It is a simple iron blade with a wooden handle. It is duller than the penknife. He holds the cheese on the cloth. He positions the knife. Press. The knife cuts through the hard cheese. It meets resistance. The cheese is aged. It is dry. A slice. A thin triangle of cheese falls away. He picks it up with his fingers. He places it on a piece of bread. He eats them together. The saltiness of the cheese balances the plainness of the bread. It is a perfect combination. It has been the combination for centuries. Soldiers eat this. Senators eat this. The scribe eats this. He eats slowly. There is no one to talk to. There is no news to read. There is only the rhythm of the meal. Tear the bread, slice the cheese, chew, swallow. He looks at the walnuts. There are 5 of them. They are small, brown, and wrinkled. They look like tiny brains. He picks one up. He squeezes it. It is hard as rock. He cannot open it with his fingers. He needs a tool. He picks up a small, smooth stone he keeps in the bag for this purpose. It is a river stone, gray and heavy. He places the nut on the table. He raises the stone. Crack. A controlled strike. The shell shatters, but the nut inside remains whole. He peels away the broken shell fragments. Click, clatter. He drops the shell pieces onto the linen cloth. He eats the nut meat. It is bitter and oily. It is rich. He repeats the process for the second nut. Crack. And the third crack. The sound is rhythmic, like a slow drum beat in the night. He takes a sip of his water. He swirls it in his mouth to clear the crumbs. The water is refreshing. It is simple. He sits there for a moment, his hands resting on his lap. He is halfway through the meal. He is not full, but the hollow feeling is gone. The body is satisfied. He looks at the crumbs scattered on the linen cloth. There are dozens of them, tiny specks of wheat. He cannot leave them. He begins to gather them. He uses the side of his hand as a scoop. He sweeps the crumbs into a small pile in the center of the cloth. A sweep, a sweep. The sound of skin on linen, soft friction. He picks up the larger pieces of walnut shell. He puts them back in the bag to be thrown away later. He looks at the remaining half of the bread loaf. He will save it. He will eat it for his morning meal when the sun comes up. He wraps the bread in the cloth. He folds the corners back over, first one, then two, then three, then four. The bread is hidden again. He puts the bundle back in the leather satchel. He buckles the strap. Click. The meal is over. He brushes his hands together to remove the last of the flour dust. Rub, rub. He feels a renewed sense of energy, a very low, steady energy. The glucose from the wheat is entering his blood. His brain is waking up slightly. He looks at the lamp. The wick is holding steady. The oil level is lower but still sufficient. He looks at the window. The darkness outside seems to have changed texture. It is the deep, dead darkness before the dawn, the heavy, velvet black. He listens. Somewhere in the woodwork of the roof, a beetle is moving. Tick, tick, tick. It is a death watch beetle tapping its head against the wood to find a mate. It is a tiny, rhythmic sound. It is the only other living thing making noise in the room. The scribe listens to the beetle. He does not find it annoying. He finds it companionable. They are both working in the dark. He picks up a small rag and wipes the table where he ate. He wants to make sure there are no invisible grease spots from the cheese. He rubs the wood. The oak shines dully. He checks his fingers. He finds a tiny piece of walnut skin stuck to his thumb. He flicks it away. He is clean. The table is clean. He sits back and closes his eyes for 10 seconds. He lets his digestion work. 1, 2, 3. He feels the warmth of the food in his stomach. 4, 5, 6. He feels the blood pumping a little stronger. 7, 8, 9. He feels the stillness of the room wrapping around him like a blanket. 10. He opens his eyes. He is ready to work again. He is not excited about it. He is not dreading it. He is simply ready. It is what he does. He reaches for the next task. It is not writing. It is checking. He pulls a ledger towards him. It is a bound book, a codex. This is newer technology than the scroll. It has pages made of parchment sewn together. He opens the book. Creak. The spine is stiff. The pages are filled with columns of numbers. These are the monthly totals. He needs to verify the addition on page 42. He runs his finger down the column. 12, 10, 4, 8. He adds them in his head. It is slow math. 22, 26, 34. He moves his finger down. 6, 2, 5. 40, 42, 47. He whispers the numbers. The sound of the numbers fills the air. They are abstract, floating in the room. 47. He looks at the total written at the bottom of the page. XLVII. 47. It matches. He nods once, a tiny nod. He turns the page, rustle. The sound of the page turning is loud in the silence. It sounds like a flag snapping in a slow wind. Page 43. New columns, new numbers. 1523. He begins again. The night flows on, the digestion continues, the math continues, the lamp burns on. There is no end to the numbers. They stretch out into infinity. As long as there are people, there are taxes. As long as there are taxes, there are scribes. As long as there are scribes, there is this room. He rests his chin in his hand. He stares at the ink on the parchment. It is black and sharp. He feels a wave of drowsiness. It is heavy and warm. His eyelids droop. He fights it, but gently. He blinks. He focuses on the number 5, V. It is just 2 lines meeting at a point. He traces the V with his eyes. Down, up, down, up. He breathes in. He breathes out. The silence is absolute. The night has grown old. The air in the archive has lost all memory of the day's heat. It is now truly cold, a dry stone cold that seeps through the sandals. The scribe wraps his wool cloak even tighter, pulling the fabric up to his chin. He breathes out, and for the first time tonight he sees a faint, ghostly wisp of white mist. His breath is visible. It hangs in the air for a second, then vanishes. He pushes the ledger aside. The math is done. The pages are verified, but the work is not quite finished. There is a physical verification to be done, not of paper or wax or papyrus, but of metal. On a low shelf behind the desk sits a small chest. It is not a treasure chest. It is a utility box. It is made of thick olive wood bound with straps of iron. The iron is rusted in places, rough to the touch. The wood is dark, almost black with age. The scribe turns in his chair. He reaches down. He grips the iron handle on the lid. He pulls the box toward him. Scribe. It is heavy. It drags across the shelf with a low vibration. He lifts it with both hands, straining slightly, and places it on the table. Thud. The sound is solid, dead. The box sits there, a heavy cube of silence. He reaches for a key that hangs on a thong around his neck. The key is large and made of bronze. It is warm from his skin. He holds it for a moment, feeling the ridges of the teeth. He inserts the key into the lock on the front of the box. A scratch and click. He turns it. The mechanism is stiff. He applies steady pressure. Clack. The bolt slides back. The box is unlocked. He lifts the lid. The hinges complain with a high-pitched squeak. It is the sound of metal rubbing against metal, dry and old. He opens it all the way until the lid rests back against the table. Inside there is no glitter of gold. There is only a dull jumble of copper, bronze, and silver. These are the samples, coins collected from the marketplace to test for weight and purity. They are dirty. They smell of hands, of sweat, of markets, of copper oxide. It is a metallic, tangy smell. The scribe does not plunge his hands in. That would be chaotic. He reaches for a piece of felt cloth he keeps for this purpose. He spreads the thick gray fabric out on the table. This will dampen the sound. We do not want loud noises. We want soft sounds. He tips the box gently. Chime, rattle, clatter. The coins slide out onto the felt. They do not bounce. They settle into a heap, a small mountain of dull metal. The scribe sighs. He looks at the pile. He must sort them. He must count them. He must weigh them. He begins with the copper as the lowest value, the coin of the common people. They are large, reddish-brown discs. He picks one up. It is cold. It feels greasy. He rubs it with his thumb. The face of an emperor appears from beneath the grime. He does not recognize the face. It is worn smooth. The nose is gone. The name is rubbed away. It is just a man in profile. He places the coin on the left side of the felt. Tap. He picks up another copper coin. He places it on top of the first. Click. He picks up a third. Click. He builds a tower of copper. He does not hurry. He checks each one for holes or clipped edges. They are all round. They are all heavy. One by one, the copper pile moves from the center to the left. The motion is repetitive. Reach, grasp, lift, place, reach, grasp, lift, place. His hand moves like a pendulum. Tick, tock. When he has a stack of 10, he starts a new stack. Soon there are 5 stacks of copper coins, 50 coins. They stand like little columns of a ruined temple. Now the silver, the denarii. These are smaller, they are lighter, they are not shiny. They are tarnished to a dark gray. Silver oxidizes over time. These coins have traveled far. He picks one up. It is thin. He holds it up to the lamp. He looks at the edge. It is serrated. Little cuts in the edge to prove it is solid silver, not plated. Good, he murmurs. He places it in the center. Ting. Silver sounds different than copper. It has a higher pitch, a clearer voice. He stacks the silver. These coins are more slippery. He has to be careful. He aligns them perfectly. If the stack is crooked, it will fall. The scribe does not want it to fall. He wants order. He stacks them 5 high, then 10 high. He looks at the face on one silver coin. It is clearer. It reads Vespasian, the old emperor, the builder. He has been dead for years, but here he is in silver, sitting on a desk in the middle of the night. The scribe wonders briefly whose pocket this coin was in last. A soldier, a baker, a merchant. It does not matter. The coin has no memory. It only has weight. He moves to the brass coins, the sestertii. These are big and yellow gold. They look valuable, but they are just brass. They are heavy and satisfying to hold. He picks up a sestertius. It is thick. He weighs it in his palm. He feels the density. He places it on the right. Clunk. A deeper sound. Brass is resonant. He builds the brass towers. The heap in the middle is disappearing. The towers on the sides are growing. The chaos is becoming order. The room is filled with the soft clink-click-clunk of the sorting. It is a rhythmic percussion. It is the music of bureaucracy. Once all the coins are stacked, the counting begins. He does not count out loud. He counts in his mind, but his lips move slightly. Unus duo, tres quatuor. He touches the top of each stack as he counts it. 50 as. 30 denarii. 20 sestertii. He records the numbers on a small wax tablet. He does not need the scroll for this. It is a temporary count. He writes the numerals LXXX, XX. He puts the stylus down. Now the weighing. He pulls a small set of scales from the box. It is a simple balance beam made of bronze. He holds it up by the ring in the center. The pans swing gently, then come to a rest. He takes a standard weight, a small block of polished stone, and puts it in the left pan. The pan goes down. He takes a stack of 10 denarii and puts it in the right pan. The scale tips. It swings back and forth, up and down, up and down. The scribe watches the beam. He watches the pointer in the center. He waits for it to stop moving. It slows down. The oscillations become smaller. It stops. The pointer is dead center. The coins are full weight. No one has shaved them. He nods. He removes the coins. He removes the weight. He repeats this for the second stack of silver. Balance swing, weight stop, verified. He repeats it for the third. Balance swing, weight stop, verified. The process is hypnotic. The swinging of the pans is like a pendulum clock. Swing, 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 still. He packs the scale away. It clatters softly into the wooden box. Now he must put the coins back, but he does not just dump them. That would be disrespectful to the order he just created. He takes a small leather bag from inside the box. He slides the stack of silver coins into the bag. Ching, ching, ching. They slide together. He pulls the drawstring tight. He takes a larger canvas bag. He slides the copper coins in. They make a dull, heavy sound, thumb prattle. He leaves the brass coins loose in the bottom of the box. He places them one by one. He lays them flat so they do not rattle. He places the bag of silver in the corner of the box. He places the bag of copper in the other corner. He places the felt cloth on top, folding it neatly. The box is full again, but now it is organized. He closes the lid. A squeak. The lid lowers. It meets the wood of the base. Thump. He takes the key. He inserts it. Click. He turns it. Clack. Locked. The scribe takes the key from the lock and hangs it back around his neck. The metal is cold now against his chest, but it will warm up soon. He pushes the box back to the shelf. Scribe. It returns to its place in the shadows. It looks like it has never moved. The scribe sits back. He rubs his hands together. They feel dirty. The dust of the metal is on his skin. He can smell the copper scent on his fingers. He pours a little water from his cup onto his rag. He wipes his hands thoroughly. He scrubs the fingertips. He scrubs the palms. He wants to remove the money from his skin. He looks at the rag. It is stained with gray smudges, the residue of commerce. He sets the rag aside. He checks the lamp. The flame is getting small. The oil is low. It is not critically low, but it is time to think about a refill. He looks at the window again. The darkness is absolute, but there is a change in the quality of the air. It feels slightly thinner. The dawn is still hours away, but the night has passed its peak. The scribe feels a deep, heavy tiredness. Not a painful tiredness, but a comfortable one. His body is heavy. His eyelids are heavy. His thoughts are slow. He rests his arms on the table. He rests his head on his arms. He just listens. He listens to the silence of the archive. He listens to the blood rushing in his ears. Whoosh, whoosh. He is not asleep. He is just resting. He is waiting. He thinks about the coins in the box, faces of dead emperors in the dark, waiting to be spent, waiting to be melted, waiting. Everything in this room is waiting. The scrolls wait to be read. The wax waits to be written on. The dust waits to fall. The scribe lifts his head slowly. He is not done yet. There is still the lamp to tend to. There is still the final check of the night. He blinks. The room swims slightly in his vision, then steadies. He is the anchor. He is the witness. He reaches for the oil jug. It is time to feed the fire. The scribe sits before the dying lamp. The flame is small now, a low blue curve hugging the wick. It is struggling to find fuel. The oil reservoir is nearly empty. If he waits much longer, the light will sputter and die, plunging the archive into absolute darkness. And in that darkness, he would have to find the flint, strike the spark, and begin the process of fire all over again. That would be too much excitement. It is better to maintain the flame, to feed it gently, so it never knows it was in danger. He reaches to the back of the table where the large clay jug sits. It is an amphora, though a small one designed for table use. It is made of thick, unglazed terracotta, cool and rough to the touch. It holds the lifeblood of the room, the olive oil. He grips the handle. It is a simple loop of clay. He pulls the jug toward him. Scribe. The sound is heavy. The jug is full. He feels the liquid sloshing inside, shifting the center of gravity. Slosh, slosh. It is a sluggish movement. The oil is cold and thick. He removes the stopper from the jug. It is a cork bung wrapped in a bit of linen to make it fit tight. He twists it, squeak. He pulls it out, pop. A dull, hollow sound. The smell of the oil drifts up. It is not the smell of food cooking. It is the smell of raw, pressed olives. It is a green, grassy, slightly peppery scent. It smells of the earth and the sun, preserved in liquid form. The scribe brings the jug to the lamp. He must be very careful. The opening of the lamp is small. The mouth of the jug is wide. He needs a steady hand. He does not use a funnel. He has done this 1,000 times. He trusts his wrist. He tilts the jug. He watches the lip of the clay. He waits for the oil to appear. It comes slowly. First, a shine on the rim, then a bulge of green-gold liquid. It hangs there for a fraction of a second, fighting gravity. Then it falls. A glug. A thin, steady stream connects the jug to the lamp. It is a viscous thread of gold. It hits the reservoir of the lamp silently. The oil disappears into the dark chamber. The scribe watches the level rise. He cannot see inside clearly, so he listens to the sound. The pitch of the pouring changes as the vessel fills up. It goes from a hollow sound to a higher, fuller sound. Glug, glug. The air bubbles inside the jug fight to escape. They force their way up through the thick oil. Bloop, a slow bubble. He keeps pouring. The stream is mesmerizing. It twists slightly as it falls. It catches the light of the dying flame, turning it into a ribbon of fire. He stops. He tilts the jug back quickly to cut the stream. A single drop hangs on the lip of the jug. He watches it. Will it fall? Will it run down the side? He catches it with his thumb. He wipes the lip of the jug. He rubs the oil into the skin of his hand. It is a moisturizer. Nothing is wasted. He looks at the lamp. The oil is visible now just below the rim. The wick is soaking it up. Almost immediately the flame responds. It drinks the fresh fuel. It grows taller. It changes from blue to a bright, steady yellow. The light in the room pushes back the shadows. The corners of the room retreat. The table is bright again. The scribe puts the stopper back in the jug. Twist, squeak, tap. He pushes the jug back to its spot. Scrrrape. He picks up a small rag. He sees a tiny ring of oil on the table where the jug was sitting, a damp circle on the wood. He rubs it, back and forth. The wood drinks the oil. The spot becomes shiny, then dull again as it dries. He rubs it until it is perfectly blended with the rest of the table. Now that the light is safe, the scribe feels a need to move. The sitting has made his legs stiff. The cold of the floor has worked its way into his knees. He stands up. Groan, the chair protests. His joints protest. He stretches his arms over his head. He reaches for the beams of the ceiling. He cannot touch them, but he reaches anyway. He feels his spine elongate. He hears a soft pop in his shoulder. He brings his arms down slowly. He walks away from the desk. He walks into the shadows. He is going to the window. The window is high up. He has to stand on his toes to see out properly. He grips the cold iron bars of the grate. The metal sucks the heat from his fingers instantly. He looks out. The city is a landscape of shadows. There are no street lights. There are no glowing windows. There is only the dark geometric shapes of roofs and walls against a slightly lighter sky. The moon has set. The stars are hidden behind a layer of low cloud or mist. It is a gray world, a world of silence. He listens for the city. Usually there is something, a cart, a shout, a dog. But tonight at this hour, the hour of the wolf, the hour between night and dawn, there is nothing. It is as if the entire empire has vanished, leaving only him and his records. He breathes in the air coming through the bars. It is cold and damp. It tastes of stone and river water. It is fresh compared to the stagnant air of the archive. He takes 3 deep breaths. In, out, in, out, in, out. He feels awake. Not energetic, but present. He turns back to the room. The lamp on his desk looks like a distant star in the darkness of the archive. It is a beacon of order. He looks at the floor. The stone flags are uneven. In the light of the lamp he can see something, dust. Throughout the night, while he worked, while he moved the scrolls, while he broke the bread, dust has settled. It is a fine gray layer near the legs of his chair. It is also composed of tiny crumbs from his meal, and perhaps a flake of wax or two. He cannot leave it. The morning scribe will arrive in a few hours. The floor must be clean. He walks to the corner where the cleaning tools are kept. There is a broom. It is not a modern broom. It is a bundle of birch twigs tied to a rough wooden handle. It is a scopy. He picks it up. The handle is polished smooth by use. The twigs are stiff and dry. They make a rustling sound as he lifts them. Crinkle. He walks back to the desk. He begins to sweep. A swish and swish. The sound is scratchy. The twigs scrape against the stone. It is a harsh, rhythmic whispering. He sweeps the area under the chair. He pulls the dust out from the shadows. He sweeps the area under the table. He has to bend down low. He sweeps the space around his feet. A swish and swish. He works in a pattern. He moves all the dust toward the center of the aisle. He is herding it. He sees a small piece of walnut shell he missed earlier. The broom catches it. Scrape. It slides across the stone. He sees a tiny curled shaving of wax. The broom catches it. He is creating a small pile, a pile of the night's debris. He sweeps slowly. He watches the twigs bend and snap back as they move across the uneven floor. He watches the dust swirl slightly in the air currents he creates. There is no hurry. The floor is large, the broom is small. He moves to the left side of the table, swish, swish. He moves to the right side, swish, swish. The rhythm is hypnotic. It is a dance of maintenance. It is the work that keeps the world from falling into chaos. If you do not sweep, the dust builds up. If the dust builds up, the mice come. If the mice come, they eat the scrolls. If they eat the scrolls, the history is lost. So the scribe sweeps. He is protecting history with a bundle of twigs. He gathers the pile into a neat mound. It is gray and fuzzy. He needs to pick it up. He fetches a small wooden shovel, little more than a flat board with a handle. He places it on the floor next to the pile. He uses the broom to push the pile onto the shovel. Push and push. Most of it goes on. A faint line of dust remains on the floor where the shovel edge meets the stone. This is the eternal problem, the line that cannot be swept. He pulls the shovel back an inch. He sweeps again. He tries to flick the dust up the ramp of the wood. A flick, flick. It is good enough. He stands up, holding the shovel carefully. He carries it to the waste bucket in the corner. He tilts the shovel. A slide. The dust falls into the bucket. It makes no sound. It lands softly on top of old scraps of papyrus and dried reed trimmings. He taps the shovel against the side of the bucket to dislodge the last few grains. Tap, tap. He puts the shovel back. He puts the broom back. He leans it against the wall so the twigs are not crushed. He wipes his hands on his tunic. He walks back to the center of the room. He looks at the floor. It is clean. The stones are bare. The room is ready for the day, even though the day is not yet here. He returns to his chair. Creak, he sits. He checks the lamp again. The level has barely dropped. The refill was successful. The light is strong. He feels a sense of accomplishment. It is a small accomplishment but valid. The lamp is full. The floor is clean. The taxes are counted. The coins are weighed. He looks at his hands. They are the hands of a caretaker. He leans back. He rests his head against the high wooden back of the chair. It is hard but supportive. He closes his eyes. He listens to the silence again. It seems deeper now that the sweeping sound has stopped. It rushes back in to fill the void. He thinks about the concept of zero. The Romans do not have a number for zero. They have words for nothing, nihil, but no symbol. He wonders what it would be like to have a number for the dust he just swept away, a number for the silence. His mind drifts. He is not sleeping. He is just floating in the quiet. He hears a drop of water fall somewhere outside, probably dew dripping from the eaves. Blip. Then silence. He waits for another one. He waits. He waits. Blip. There it is, a slow clock of water. He counts the space between the drops. Unus, dual, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septum. Blip. 7 seconds. He counts again. Unus, dual, tres, quatuor, quinque, sex, septum. Blip. Regular, consistent. Nature is keeping time alongside him. He finds this immensely comforting. The world is a machine. It ticks and talks. It drips and flows. He opens his eyes slowly. The room is the same. The light is the same. He looks at the stack of finished scrolls. He looks at the stack of clean tablets. There is one small task left, a task of preparation for the morning. He needs to mix a fresh batch of ink for the day's shift. The ink he used earlier is getting thick and low. It would be rude to leave the pot empty for the next scribe. He reaches for the raw ingredients, the soot, the gum, the water. But he pauses. He just looks at the jars. He will do it, but not yet. For now, he will just sit. He will watch the flame consume the new oil. He will let the peace of the clean floor settle into his mind. He breathes in slowly. The air is still smelling faintly of the spilled oil on his hand, green and earthy. He is content. The night is almost over, but the quiet remains. He rests his hands on the table. He keeps them perfectly still. He tries to stop even the micro movements of his fingers. He wants to be as still as the stone. Statuesque. Silent. Waiting. The final hour has come. The scribe sits before the raw ingredients of his trade. He has swept the floor. He has sealed the scrolls. He has counted the coins. Now he must leave the desk ready for the day. He cannot leave an empty inkwell. That would be a breach of the silent contract between scribes. One leaves the desk as one wishes to find it. He pulls the small mortar and pestle toward him. It is made of white marble, stained gray by years of crushing carbon. He opens a small leather pouch. Inside is the soot, lamp-black. It is the finest carbon, scraped from the inside of kiln chimneys. It is lighter than air. He takes a tiny scoop. He carefully dumps the black powder into the mortar. Poof! A microscopic cloud of black dust rises and settles instantly. He opens a second jar. This one contains gum arabic, dried sap from the acacia tree. It looks like amber crystals. He drops a few crystals into the powder. Click, click. He begins to grind. He moves the pestle in a slow circle. He presses down. Grind, crunch, grind. The crystals break. They mix with the soot. The sound is gritty. It feels like sand between teeth. He grinds until the mixture is a fine, uniform gray powder. Now the water. He adds it drop by drop from his cup. Drip, drip, drip. He stirs. The powder resists the water at first. It floats on top, but he persists. He stirs. A swish, a swish. The water conquers the powder. The mixture turns into a thick black paste. It is sludge. He adds more water. He stirs faster now, but still rhythmically. The paste thins out. It becomes a liquid. It becomes ink. He lifts the pestle. The black liquid drips off the end. It is smooth. It is dark. It is perfect. He pours the fresh ink into the main inkwell on the desk. Glug, glug. It fills the pot to the brim. A fresh black mirror waiting for the morning's taxes. The scribe wipes the mortar clean with his rag. He wipes the pestle. He puts the tools away. He looks at the window. The darkness has broken. The deep black has surrendered to a cold, steel gray. The bars of the grate are now silhouettes against the coming light. The mist outside is glowing faintly. The lamp on the desk is still burning, but its light now looks feeble. It looks yellow and tired against the incoming gray of the morning. It is no longer needed. The scribe leans forward. He brings his face close to the lamp. He feels the heat on his cheek one last time. He blows a short, sharp breath. Phh. The flame vanishes. A thin ribbon of gray smoke rises from the wick. It curls up, dancing in the still air, smelling of extinguished oil. It rises toward the ceiling and disappears. The room is now lit only by the dawn. It is a flat, shadowless light. It reveals the room for what it is, just a stone box filled with wood and paper. The magic of the night shadows is gone. The reality of the day has arrived. The scribe stands up. A scrape. He pushes the chair in. He aligns it perfectly with the table. He picks up his leather satchel. He swings it over his shoulder. It is lighter now. The bread is eaten. The water is drunk. He hears a sound from the corridor. Footsteps. Slap, slap, slap. They are brisk footsteps, morning footsteps. The door handle turns, creak. The heavy oak door opens. A man enters. He is dressed in a fresh tunic. He looks awake. He looks like he has slept. It is the morning scribe, Marcus. They do not speak. There is no need for a conversation. They know the routine. The night scribe nods, a single, slow dip of the head. The morning scribe nods back. The night scribe steps away from the desk. The morning scribe steps toward the desk. It is a changing of the guard, a silent rotation. The morning scribe sits down, creak. He reaches for the stylus. He looks at the fresh ink. He looks at the clean tablets. He looks pleased. The night scribe walks to the door. He steps over the threshold. He leaves the archive. The hallway is long and gray. He walks down it. His sandals echo, clack, clack, clack. He walks past other doors, other rooms where other boring jobs are starting. He walks past the guard at the entrance. The guard is leaning on his spear, looking bored. The guard nods. The scribe nods. He pushes open the main outer door. Kriyak boom. He is outside. The air hits him. It is cold, wet, and fresh. It is the air of a new day. The street is paved with large cobblestones. They are wet with dew. They shine like the backs of turtles. The scribe starts his walk home. He does not live far. Rome is a dense city. He walks down the center of the street. At this hour there are no chariots. There are no crowds. There is only the occasional baker walking with a tray of bread or a slave carrying water. He smells the city waking up. He smells wood smoke from 1,000 kitchen fires being lit. He smells baking bread. He smells the damp earth. He walks slowly. His legs are tired from the sitting and the standing. He feels the muscles in his calves. Step, step, step. He passes a fountain. The water is splashing into a stone basin. Splash, gurgle, splash. The water is clear and cold. He stops. He cups his hands. He catches the water. He splashes it on his face. It is a shock. It is freezing. It washes away the dust of the archive. He wipes his face with his sleeve. He continues walking. The sky is changing color. The gray is turning to a pale, washed-out blue. To the east, over the rooftops, there is a hint of pink. The sun is coming. The empire is waking up. The noise is beginning to rise. A distant hammer ringing on an anvil. Clang, clang, a donkey braying. Hee-haw. But the scribe is moving away from the noise. He is moving toward silence. He turns down a narrow alleyway. The walls are high on both sides. It is darker here. He reaches a small wooden door set into a plaster wall. It is his door. He reaches for the latch. He lifts it. Click. He pushes the door open. Squeak. He enters his home. It is a small room on the ground floor of an insula, an apartment block. It is simple. It is quiet. The window is small and has a wooden shutter. The shutter is closed, keeping the room dark. He closes the door behind him. He slides the bolt. Thunk. The world is locked out. The taxes are locked out. The emperor is locked out. He is in his sanctuary. He walks to the small table in the corner. He unbuckles his satchel. He places it on the table. He unpins his wool cloak. The heavy fabric falls from his shoulders. He feels lighter. He folds the cloak. One fold, two folds. He places it on a chest. He sits on the edge of his bed. The mattress is stuffed with straw. It rustles as he sits. Crunch, rustle. He bends down. He unbuckles his sandals. Left foot, unbuckle. He pulls the leather strap. He slides the sandal off. He places it on the floor. Right foot, unbuckle. He slides the sandal off. He places it next to the left one. He wiggles his toes. They are free. They are cool. He stands up one last time. He walks to the shuttered window. He can see a sliver of bright light coming through a crack in the wood. The sun has risen. The day has begun for everyone else. For the scribe, the day is over. He walks back to the bed. He lies down. The straw mattress conforms to his body. It supports his back. It supports his tired legs. He pulls a linen sheet up to his chin. It is cool and smooth. He sighs, a long, deep exhale. It is the sigh of a task completed. He closes his eyes. The room is dark. The room is quiet. He can hear the muffled sounds of the city outside, but they are far away. They are like the sound of the ocean. They do not concern him. His mind begins to drift. He sees the wax tablets, but they are blank. He He sees the scrolls, but they are rolled up. He sees the numbers, but they are floating away. IVXLCDM. They float like leaves in a stream. They drift downstream out of sight. He thinks of the grain, 100 sacks, 200 sacks. He thinks of the oil, pouring slowly, golden and thick. He thinks of the dust, falling silently, covering everything. The scribe is safe, the work is done, the empire is counted. His breathing slows down, in, out. In, out. His hands relax, his fingers uncurl. The memory of holding the stylus fades. The darkness behind his eyes is deep and velvety. It is the same darkness that was in the archive. It is a friendly darkness. He sinks into the mattress. He sinks into the floor. He sinks into the earth. The scribe sleeps, and the history books remain closed. The numbers remain still, and the silence remains.